And all these things are great. Most times, the last place we'll go for the answer is to surrender, is to let everything in our life be just as it is. And what happens here is the mind exposes the resistance to being with what is. And to the degree that we're resisting what is the degree that we're actually pushing away the thing that we desire. Letting things be is not about being lazy. The mind's like, oh, I'm just going to go be lazy then. Kick my feet up. It's about releasing the vibration that is vibrating in lack, in unworthiness, in not enoughness. Most people entrain themselves to act from a place of, fuck man, who I am is not enough. I'll go find a partner. I'll go manifest a partner so that I can fill this void. As opposed to actually looking at what is it? What is it that's not enough? What is it that's incomplete in my experience? Why do I feel a sense of unworthiness? These questions now go a little bit deeper than just the surface ripples of the ocean. So our being is much more like the ocean. Yeah? And our human aspect of us, which is dynamic, which has ambitions, which perhaps has lofty goals. Our human aspect of us is dynamic. Our being is deeper. Our being is the part of us that is existing. We could call that I am, the I am presence of our experience. The moment we label I am happy, the happy or the I am happy, now our being takes the shape of the identity. But the deeper identity within us is I am, period. That's our being. Our being doesn't have a label, as it's not limited to a finite object. It's not limited to a finite shape, personality, image, stories, narratives. Our being just simply is. And to the degree that we're connected to our being is to the degree that we'll experience ourselves in a state of completeness, in a state of wholeness, because our beingness is complete. It is whole. And when we start communicating, when we start speaking from that place, our authenticity shines through, because we're not trying to be something that we're not. So the art of letting things be as they are is more of a recognition. It's more of a perception. It's more of an embodiment, a felt sense of feeling my body, feeling, connecting with the dynamic aspects of myself, my breath, connecting with the different sensations and feelings and emotions in my body. Here's the catch. We can see the stories, we can see what's going on in our mind, and we can connect that with how we're feeling in our body. But as long as we attach to the stories, to the narratives, as truth, as real, oh, but you know what? In my past, this happened in my relationship. And you know what? I'm going to make a definitive, declarative statement around what happened in my past. And we carry these things. And this is the energetic heaviness that perhaps we don't see, but it's playing itself out all the time. Only 5% of our experience is our conscious experience, meaning like it's on the surface. 95% of our experience is automatic set of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, which is in our subconscious. So if we think of energy, because we can't necessarily see it, we experience it, we feel it, although when that becomes more real than the dynamic circumstances that are constantly shifting and changing, and the AI and the news, and there's so much information out here. The moment we come back to our innate intuitive intelligence, we can see how our energy starts to function. We can see the holistic nature of mind, body, and spirit. It's not some concept. It's literally our physical, energetic experience. So our energy always takes the shape of our subconscious beliefs. So if something triggers us externally, and I want to get to the root of like, why am I feeling triggered? The beautiful art of having a meditative and a introspective practice, a way to ground our emotions and to be with our emotions. We're now connecting with the feminine aspect of our life. Meaning that now we can start to see how that intelligence wants to express itself differently. Because the art of letting go, the art of letting things be, is now something fresh, something new will emerge from us. Something more real, something that we've been listening to our entire life, but we just don't have a language for it. It's our intuition, which is guiding us into something that's more real within us. Because the moment we're putting on masks, facades, to try to get our needs met in our life, we're playing in a dangerous arena. When we connect with what is true and what is real within us, and we start being honest, we start telling the truth, we're now sitting in the fire of our own life force, our own light. And that is where the masculine and the feminine energies within us come into harmony. The feminine in her intuitive sense, her emotional intelligence, her artistic expression. She's constantly moving. And then the masculine that's able to hold a steadiness, like the witness of our experience, can now penetrate all the illusions that we carry within us. It can penetrate that and start to organize. Both those energies can come into harmony, into resonance. But it's a felt sense experience. It's coming back to our own self-awareness. And the frequency of that, it's much different. It's slower, it's more regulating. And the more we own our life force, we can now bring that into our life. We can bring that into relationships. So as we let the dust of the mind settle, because think about it, our nervous systems, the world that we live in is so stressful. We got all these things going on in our life. Where is there time for you to honor yourself? To start to clarify yourself, to clarify what is going on in here, and to let go of the programming that is actually pushing away the things that life wants to bring to you. Because life will always bring us experiences and people and circumstances that helps our soul expand and evolve. And that doesn't necessarily mean pleasant, by the way. And when we've developed enough patience to be, we recognize that the very thing that we're desiring, we can give the experience of that, the wholeness of that, to ourselves because we're paying attention to ourselves. And our attention is our greatest commodity. So the transformation that happens as we let things be, because you will have an alchemical transformation happening in your body. That's what high frequency does. So when we let go of the denser aspects of our experience, because it's time to evolve, it's gonna feel like a death in a lot of ways. And the more you understand the process of transformation, that there is a pressurization that happens, there is a resistance that happens. The point isn't to feel better, although that will happen. The point is to get better at feeling yourself. Recognizing that the body's intelligence is far more important. It's far more intelligent, I should say, than the mind, than the mental chatter. There's certain rhythms that the body, the biorhythms of the body, when you start connecting with that, you're now connected to the source of life. The same intelligence that pushed you through the birth canal, that's the same intelligence. It's your breath intelligence. You just got to reacquaint yourself to desiring your breath. But your breath will inform your body somatically. I know for me, my body has felt miserable to be in the majority of my life. All I wanted was to feel comfortable and confident being in my own body. And a lot of times that can be really challenging to start coming into the body, to start coming into contact with all the ways that we distract ourselves. It can be eye-opening. But you don't have to judge yourself. You actually don't have to judge yourself for any of it. Although we will find that there are innate programs of judgment already happening. And it's up to us to free ourselves from that if we choose. And the deeper we go into our process, the more truth will reveal itself. And I know of no greater mirror for a man than the feminine. His own internal feminine and also external feminine, as they're related. But if a man wants to start coming into contact with his masculine essence, it requires the feminine to come online. It requires him to let go of knowing things, in a sense, and to come back to a simplicity. And simplicity doesn't necessarily mean easy, because presence, full presence, coming back to our full beingness, will expose the lies. It will expose the illusions, the distortions that we carry, that we're still living by. And this is why I offer and teach Kundalini Yoga, because Kundalini Yoga is the process, it's the technology of transformation back into your soul essence, back into your creative genius, back into listening from that space of beingness, which is where bliss, joy, fulfillment, that's where the land of that lives. And the more you go, you dip your toe into the water, into the well, the more you get back into that space, you want to keep going back. So a large part of my journey was letting go of a lot of things that, I thought were like my discipline, the working out structures, the discipline on my morning routine, and all of these performative based structures that I had created, but I had created them from a place of inadequacy. That had to fall apart for me to come into contact with something like sadhana, kundalini yoga, spiritual practice. That isn't necessarily to develop my ego, although that happens. I don't think the game of spirituality is to shit on the ego or to get rid of the ego, because the ego is as real as Santa Claus is real. And once we start to understand that, the goal isn't to get rid of the ego. For me, the game of life is to free ourselves from all the false identifications that create suffering. And in order to go on that journey, it's unique for all of us. We're all uniquely programmed, and we've taken on different conditioning. So the way out is very unique. It's very individualized. But the energy, the frequency of authenticity, the frequency of spiritual freedom, of being ourself, it's the same within all of us. That's why I can speak and you can feel perhaps a resonance within yourself, like, oh fuck, this guy has a language that I haven't been able to find. Because most of the world is speaking from a language of matter, as like, I am my body. No, I'm in a body, I'm experiencing a body, but I'm also greater than my body. My awareness isn't just limited to the experience of being in my body. But when that becomes the default setting, which we now live in our mind, I am my thoughts, I am my body, I am my feelings, I am my emotions. And to the degree that we resist thoughts, they will keep coming back. So the game here is more about allowance and pulling our identity from the attachments that lead to states that we don't want to experience anymore. It's painful to be in the body, to get caught in the mind. It's painful to live life in the mind only when our intuition is deeply connected to our felt sense, our awareness. And to heal trauma, we have to feel it. We have to be willing to feel it, to slow down. And then we learn from life. We don't have to necessarily learn from a book. We don't have to carry a whole bunch of concepts and ideas and find our value and our worth from that. We can come into a deeper field that you know science because you're inquiring into the nature of you, and it's always bringing you back to your beingness, which when you're connected to your beingness, you feel lighter, you feel happier, you feel more bliss. That's science. It's repeatable. And of course, there's the in quantum physics, there's the observer effect, right? The moment the observer shows up, the observer influences the wave into a particle, into matter. So the way we perceive our experience influence matter, influence influences our experience. So the creation process comes back to our creative life force potential, our sexual energy. And that's why I feel like our sexuality, our relationship to our sexuality is at the very center of our being, because without it, we're not here. It's intimately related to the creative process. And that's a deeper topic for another time. But our sexual energy, for a lot of us, has been suppressed. I know for me, like working to come back into contact with my sexual energy in a healthy way and start to express it in a healthy way, to be more truthful and honest with women that I date, women that I'm romantic with, to have a relationship that's built on truth and honesty. There's no greater freedom for a man. Like I said, that's a topic for another day. Maybe I'll go into that. I'm sure I will. As my work deepens, as more people come into contact with what I'm sharing, I usually just press play and see what comes out of my mouth. I had no idea what I was going to share on this video today. And that's how I prefer to live my life. I don't necessarily like living my life by writing out goals and pursuing goals. It feels like a death to me. I'd rather show up and share from a different space. So that feels way more purposeful. It feels like I'm living my mission when I'm living in presence. And I think presence in a lot of ways is purpose. And that can look infinite number of ways. Mission, purpose does not equal a job. I know plenty of people that are working jobs that are supposedly their dream job, their sole job, but they're not present. They're stressed out. Of course, the experience of stress is a part of being human too, of course. But wouldn't you want to attempt to live a life that is completely and authentically your life, no one else's? So the work that I do is I help people connect back to the essence of that. And the essence of that, frequency precedes form. It starts in the realm of frequency. And then when you connect into a different frequency, i.e. letting things be as they are, and you connect more into a naturalness, the business opportunity shows up. The partner shows up in your life. Synchronicities start unfolding. We can't plan synchronicities. Because the moment we're planning, we're looking for synchronicities, we're out of that energy. And the energy of that is, it's like a curious, it's like an awe, it's very childlike. Come back into that place and see what unfolds, see what happens. I'm not saying don't write goals, because a lot of people resonate with goals. If it resonates with you, if it inspires you, go do that. That's the secret. Go do what inspires you. And I'll leave you with this. I truly believe that the very thing we fear the most is the thing we desire the most. And if we're willing to soften into the edges of what we desire, and we change our paradigm from a place of like neutrality, neutralness, often like the stoicism, if we allow pleasure back into our experience, that will shift all of the ways that we just berate ourselves So I believe that the relationship with our mind is communicating subconsciously our relationship with our emotions. Can't separate the two. So the work that I offer is like a spectrum. You have the physical body on one end, and you have consciousness on the other end. And the healing process happens within the spectrum. And life is more of like a mirror. Consciousness is more of a mirror for how we're relating to life. Because we get to see, through our eyes, we can see life as life sucks, life is hard, life is shit. And we could have all the evidence in the world for why that's the case. But the moment where we're just willing to come into the moment and let things be as they are, we can start seeing how life truly is.